Hello YouTube. So this is going to be my second video response to Craven with regards to the Kirk principle, and we seem to have an ongoing dialogue here, which I find kind of exciting. So let's dive right into it. The first thing that I really noticed about your video was one line that you'd said, Craven, where you said, "I don't see Captain Kirk as authoritative on anything outside of the Star Trek TV show." And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. I mean, you don't see the Quran or the Book of Mormon or the Vedas or anything like that as authoritative either. And the whole idea of the Kirk principle is that atheists see the Bible in the same way, as something that's not authoritative. We don't believe that it's true, and as such we don't see it as an authority on things. And let me be clear, I'm not saying that you shouldn't think that the Bible is authoritative. You believe that it's true, so obviously you think it has some authority, but that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about having a discussion with people who aren't believers, not a discussion amongst believers, and so using the Bible as an authoritative source among people who don't think that it's true is a useless endeavor, to say the least. And really, that's kind of the source of the change that your example on with regards to the temperance movement highlighted. People who believe that the Bible is true tend to think that it's authoritative, and then they tend to act on those beliefs. But as I was saying, we're not talking about fellow believers here. We're talking about skeptics of biblical truth. They don't see the Bible as authoritative, even if you do. And so that's where the Kirk principle comes into play. You later on in your video, you say that if the hypothetical Star Trek fan were to make a similar claim that something is immoral because Captain Kirk said so, as opposed to something is immoral because the Bible says so, you say that Star Trek fan will be unsuccessful. And I agree with you, he likely would be unsuccessful, but in the United States, so would the hypothetical Muslim who said that something was immoral because of the Quran, or the hypothetical Hindu who says that something's immoral because of the Vedas, or the hypothetical Buddhist who says that something is immoral because the Dalai Lama said so, or even like the Mormon who's outside of Utah claiming that something is immoral because it says so in the Book of Mormon. The whole idea here is that if people don't find it to be authoritative, if people don't find things to be true, then it's not a useful source just as is. You have to have something to back it up with. You can't just say, well, this says so, so it must be so, because it's not going to help further the discussion, because you're going to have a fundamental disagreement on whether or not that source is in fact authoritative. And the key here seems to be with regards to the temperance movement. Just because Christianity has more market penetration, so to speak, it doesn't mean that it's more authoritative to those who don't accept its veracity. And that's who we're talking about here. People who don't think that the Bible is true. That's where the Kirk principle comes into play, because you have to, in order to have meaningful discussion, you have to be able to see at least where the other side is coming from. Otherwise, there's nothing but confusion and misunderstandings, and that's not useful at all. So, anyways, that's my take on the matter. I look forward to your response, and have a good one.